The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good.
Hi, Tom.
How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning. I'm Nico Haan, and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
So we can recover our health and return to our natural rights and freedoms. I'm Paige Clarke.
Hey, it's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater,
Kinda
64
foggy.
degrees. Oh, foggy. Boy, I had to put my fog lights on.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice. I like those little tricks that I do.
Hey, if you have any questions, you can about anything that we talk about here, you're welcome to reach me at Paige@TFNN.com.
Yeah, and Nico at TFNN.com if you have any questions, or of course if you have any suggestions for the show, we'd love to hear them. And it's a beautiful day here. Please give us a call at 877-927-6648.
Disturbing article here.
Disturbing article about meat. It says our affinity for meat likely began out of circumstance. Humans that lived inland from the coast had a little choice but to hunt and live, and that has persisted for evolutionary reasons. And that's really what I want to get across. This article is talking about meat that's grown in the petri dish. But I want people to understand that we were hunter and gatherers for most of our existence on the planet. It's no accident that we crave meat, want meat, because that's where we get most of our vitamins.
Fat-soluble nutrients are found in a lot of the animal foods. Yep. However, if you live in the United States now, it's really staggering. People in the United States eat roughly 210 pounds of it each year. Mm-hmm. Is that too much meat? Well, I think that's at the root of some of our problems. The inflammatory cytokines that come from eating meat that's not eating its natural diet, as most of the meat sources in the United States are, is kind of, we've taken something that was meant to be good for us, and we've distorted it, and we've destroyed it, and we've created, a lot of things. You made that comment about the spirit of the animal, and I'm sure you're going to expound on this a little bit. It's just so true. I mean, what we're doing.
There's no spirit in the petri dish, that's for darn sure.
Right.
But, our need for the nutrients that come from meat is so great that I think that because people are overeating today, the reason is because they're not getting the nutrients. So they're kind of seeking those nutrients and not getting it, and they have to eat so much of, not only carbohydrates, but the protein and the fats, and, everything that we eat is so nutrient poor that we have to, we're struggling to get what we need. So naturally we're overeating. And our contention is always that if you eat something that is natural, that is organic, that the animal has eaten its natural food, then you're going to get a product that you don't have to eat a lot of.
And that's a great point, Nico, because that's exactly right on. In my coaching clients, what I explain to them is, malnutrition expresses itself at two extremes. The very frail, thin people, but also the very obese that you see in this country.
Yes.
The inflammation is the fact that the body is just eating all kinds of food-like merchandise in search of nutrients, looking for those nutrients of protein and zinc and the nutrients that we'll find in our meat. We're overeating it simply because we're not getting the raw materials.
And I feel really bad because this happened in Holland. This is a lab in Holland. This is the petri dish, and if you look at the telestrator here, you'll see.
From the petri dish to the plate, a team of scientists at a university has been able to create cultured meat from muscle tissue harvested from cows.
So, and this is how they did it. Took a small piece of muscle meat, and they just started regenerating it, because that's what muscle meat does. It's the natural ability to regenerate and repair itself.
Right.
So
I guess when we work out, we tear it down, and then the amino acids go to rebuild it.
So it makes sense that you can do it in a petri dish, because you take those fibers and you put them in there and you add some electricity and things like that to make it grow, and boom, you've got it. And they say this is the future of meat, and this would be a sad case if this is the only way we can get our nutrition. And perhaps because we're killing all the wild areas, and we're not having many wild animals anymore. We're domesticating the animals, which is a step down, even if they're eating their natural food. We're in a world of trouble if we don't start rewilding our country, our continent, our earth.
And speaking of rewilding, we're going to be talking about getting wild.
Yes, we are.
Tonight
at CC Riders.
CC Riders Restaurant, delightful downtown Dunedin. So if you're local, we'd love to see you there. Come join us. Nico's really put a lot of work into, creating a nice webinar and talk about the problem with modern food. Very much just at the heart of what we do with this show. How do we return to living life more in tune with our environment, with nature, so that we can, flourish and thrive and be healthy and alive.
Yeah, and I really have put down some countermeasures, what I call countermeasures for living. And it has to do with food, but it also has to do with the way we live, our circadian rhythms, the exercise that we are getting. How we move.
All these things that, I use with my clients in my office, it really is an epigenetic, or above the genes.
Yeah.
We affect our health and our well-being very much by these choices we make every day.
Yeah, and also it involves the social structure that we have, because our social structure has really changed from our tribal, normal thing. If society all of a sudden breaks down, we'd go into small little tribes. So our modern tribes are a lot different than our ancient tribes, but I think tribal is still the way to go. It's a lot easier to get people to sympathize with you, to empathize with you, if you know them and you're sitting across from them. But if you're going through the TV, or having somebody in Tallahassee here in Florida, or in Washington, knows nothing about you and I and what we need and what we want in our immediate area. That's just the way it is.
Yes,
and the other thing is, of course, we have to contend with the modern medicine that we have today. Modern medicine is putting us on a different path. I think it can be compatible with what we do. But right now, there's a big divide between what we consider being healthy and what we consider being in the health of the United States of America. Being under the knife in America is not a good thing, I don't think.
I agree with you. We need to go back to understanding that in traditional cultures, the healing was done actually as part of the church or the spiritual groups in those communities, the tribe, the people. The health of people all over the world was often handled within the group, not by a outside force,
So if you look
for
at
profit.
the telestrator here, getting back to this little thing, you can see that they're taking samples and they're putting it in the petri dish, and it's all muscle meat. And remember that we have often talked about that our ancient ancestors had discarded a lot of the muscle meat.
It is kind of ironic. I was thinking about that the muscle meat was not the meat that was prized by tribal people, that they sought the animal for. It was more, that was what they kind of used as the throwaway. It was the organs and glands.
Yeah, and my question is where's the fat? They're probably growing it without fat. I think it'll probably be easier to grow.
They're calling it schmeat.
Schmeat. Jeez, they're coming up with words already.
Ugh.
So I just don't think this is a good way. Maybe it'll save humanity, maybe it won't, but a hamburger sitting on a bun like this doesn't thrill me at all.
No, it's something like Joel Salatin says, folks, this just ain't right.
Yeah, exactly right. You know what is right? Picking up some healthy image, or healthy health signals.
Yes, and pick up a bottle of our Primal Edge with all the nutrients you need to stay healthy.
Then give us a call at 877-927-6648, and we'll
Be right back.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Saw an article I wanted to share with you today, Nico. You know, many of you know that I'm very interested in people understanding the damage that our cells are experiencing as a result of certain chemicals that are being added into the food chain, and not just to us, but also to the animal foods that's part of our food chain. And you know, let's talk a little bit about how Roundup side effects, how it damages our mitochondria and creates sickness and disease. It's really our mitochondria, which are the energy plants of our cells. And in a healthy person, provided we have all the raw materials, our mitochondria would produce about 36 units of ATP. But what we see in chronic illness in so many people today is a lowered output of ATP, down around 2, because we're not getting the raw materials. What does that come back to? Kind of one of the reasons that we created a product like Primal Edge, understanding that if the micronutrients aren't available, then those signaling products can't be used in our bodies to do the proper work. And we have to help our bodies use them. So, you know, specifically this article got my attention because it talks about glyphosate, which is Roundup, which, as we've talked about, is used so heavily in our industrialized food production.
But it's also used by my neighbors. Everybody's spraying this stuff everywhere.
Yeah, to kill weeds.
Exactly.
And actually, it's so funny. You know, the weeds that most people are killing are edible weeds, such as the dandelion and things like this, that we should be actually grabbing and picking up and throwing on our evening salad.
They're still wild plants.
The wild plants are what we should be pursuing. We live in an upside-down world, don't we?
I was listening to a podcast last night while I was taking my sauna, and he was explaining about wild herbs and how, you know, if anything ever breaks down as far as the grid is concerned, and we're without lights for a long time, and now we have to find food, a good thing to learn is where these plants are and how you can find them.
Yeah.
And which ones are edible and which one aren't, because there's nothing more dangerous than going out in the wild, having nothing to eat, and now you're foraging around for plants to eat. Plants are the most dangerous things out there, not the animals so much. You can catch a little frog or something like that, or some fish or some worms. You can eat those with no problems. Plants are more of a problem because a lot of them hide things in them. They don't want to be eaten, just like the animals don't.
Right.
But the animals can run, the plants can't.
So they produce very powerful, as you said, phytates and so kinds of things to let the animal, the predator, the animal or the human being know,
Don't eat me.
Don't eat me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we've educated a lot of you on the whole idea of why seeds and nuts should be soaked, because that very powerful phytic acid that keeps that seed or nut intact. Why do you think seeds can stay in a package for a year and not sprout?
A year. They found them in tombs thousands of years
right,
ago, and they still
Egyptian
sprout.
tombs.
Exactly right.
Right, because that phytic acid is there to say, hold on to your life force, it's not ready to be used.
Yeah.
So what happens when we digest these things and we haven't neutralized that phytic acid, then many people end up getting these digestive disturbances, diverticulitis, and
well,
this
we've
kind of a
really
thing.
had the wool pulled over our eyes as far as seeds are concerned, because grass seeds are the main staple in our diet now, and they become that way for various different reasons, because they're easy to carry, they're good in war, they're good for controlling people, you can lock them up, but they're also moldy. I mean, they sit in silos for years. Remember, the seed, the very thing that's life force in the seed is a very, very small part of that plant hidden away in a package that is trying to keep it alive, but inactive.
I mean, dormant until, and what makes it
When
come
it
alive?
sprouts.
Sprouting. What we use as the activating force for sprouting? Water.
Water.
And so the problem with trying to eat a lot of seeds without properly preparing them, our ancestors knew this.
Yes, they knew
and
this.
somehow in our fast-paced world of quick delivery of food, we've missed some of these proper formulations.
And not only that, we take the seed and then we grind it up. So we grind all the bad and the good together, and now we make a mush out of it. And it just doesn't make any sense.
So let me just say one thing. I want people to understand just this one little mechanism about glyphosate. So think Roundup, think these chemicals, think pesticides that are on your food. So how does it affect these energy cells of our body? And many of you have heard us talk about Stephanie Seneff, the MIT researcher who is really at the forefront of this glyphosate research. She explains, the glyphosate binds very strongly to the microminerals, the trace minerals, the ones that we're trying to make sure you get back in our primal edge. So, for example, there's one particular mineral called manganese, and manganese is needed in a very small amount, but the Roundup binds to the manganese so that you can't use it. So even if the animal foods or the plant foods that you're eating had manganese, it's bound up and you can't utilize it. And as a result of this, your mitochondria requires this manganese to break down sod. Sod is our superoxide dismutase. This is our natural antioxidant. It's what keeps us young, keeps scavenging the free radicals in our body that we produce. And because the sod, the manganese is used to break down superoxide dismutase and turn it into hydrogen peroxide, which is basically oxygen in water. And that's far less toxic, and eventually it breaks down into water. This is a very important process as it protects your mitochondria from oxidative damage. So just this simple process of binding a single micronutrient can just have devastating effects on our body's ability to protect itself from free radical damage.
They've done different kind of tests and experiments on this. Rats given glyphosate in their drinking water developed tumors, and this has happened a long time ago. The Russians had real good studies on this years and years ago, and finding no matter how they gave the rats whether they gave it in the food or just gave it into a petri dish with the water in it, these rats all got tumors. But not only that, the next generation weighed a lot less, and the third, fourth generation. So you've got to be thinking, what is happening to our population generations from now if we're always eating this kind of food?
Well, and the research is just huge, folks, about the damage from these pesticides that are often being sprayed onto our foods, not even to prevent pests in some cases, but just to make harvesting easier. Shockingly being used, in the grain industry. And you made that point, and I just had a vision of it. We're here to expose the wrong kinds of foods and the wrong kinds of processes, and how maybe if we go back to how our great-great-great-grandparents or ancestors did things, we'd all be a lot healthier.
No doubt about it.
And I liked what you just said. I mean, when you think of these grain silos with the mold and the exposure to rodents and so forth, it's really rather an unappetizing picture of our food as well.
It really is. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Let's please be aware of what these toxic chemicals can do, and when people try to tell you that there is no difference in organic and non-organic, I think you need to consult the research, because there's significant published research on the question of the safety of glyphosate,
right now,
Monsanto's Roundup.
Yeah. And basically, Monsanto is the only company saying right now that this is okay. Nobody else is saying this is okay. All the experiments, all the tests that we've done turned out to be valid, that this is causing cancer, it's causing all kinds of respiratory problems, it's getting into our DNA. We're turning into different people if we keep eating this, and it's not good for us. And there's many different ways that Monsanto controls this whole thing, and that's another subject there.
Yes.
Number here is 877-927-6648. Please give us a call if you want to join the conversation, pick up some Primal Edge if you wish, and have a new Health Signals newsletter.
That's right, coming up. Maybe we'll get a little highlights of that. We'll see you after the break.
Okay, thanks.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Paige and I are looking at this article. It's called "Turn It Off: The Massively Manipulated Marketing Meme." That's a little hard to say.
It's one of my little
and it's really about
alliterations.
TV. Yeah, it's really about advertising and how advertising works.
Yeah, this contributing writer for Wake Up World was really kind of giving us some little insights into how we are being manipulated by what we see and hear by stealth advertisers who really do not always have your best, thoughts in mind.
Well,
interest
no doubt
in
about
mind.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of different marketing. Our news programs are really good at placing these things in that are actually boosting a company, but they're making it front page news. Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be really great to insert some of these videos that were in this article in for our newsletter subscribers. So watch for that in your next issue.
Yes.
Kind of gives you a little idea of how we're being manipulated in the cleverly constructed way that these people, on Madison Avenue decide to help make sure you're buying what they're selling. And it goes into a little bit of the history of Edward Bernays. You know who he was?
No.
Edward Bernays was Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Okay.
So he probably picked up a thing or two sitting around the
I would think
table
so.
on the holidays
Yeah.
from that person. But it's really about the integration of psychology and public relations and molding people's opinions. He's really considered the father of public relations, although he's kind of been obscured. But his legacy, however, is thriving around the globe, and his techniques are found in everything from the food we eat to the things we believe. I'm pretty sure he was also part of his approach that was used in order to convince us that fluoridation was something that was somehow beneficial for us.
Well, we pick up so much from the TV, just a president doing something, and all of a sudden it becomes common.
Yeah.
When I remember Obama says, "Look," and then he makes a statement, and then everybody's, now I go to hear people talk, and they're, "Look." So we're used to seeing things on TV, and we copy things on TV. That's why fashion models go on there.
We assume that it's true because it's
That's
shown
true,
on.
too. Yeah, that's true.
I often will share information with people, and they'll say, "Well, how come this isn't on the news? Wouldn't it be on the news if it was true?" And I'm saying, completely
not.
the opposite. Because what I'm telling you is the truth. It won't be on the news. And I always love an opportunity to kind of return to that whole conversation about the fluoride. I'm sorry, can I take a minute?
Yeah, of course.
Can I take a minute? What clever marketing. When the phosphate industry was being fined heavily by the government, because the animals and the people around their plants were dying, were becoming crippled.
Because they were dumping this
They
stuff.
were becoming crippled. Let's look at what do we have this disease that's appeared in the last 50 years, osteoporosis. Could we call it fluoride toxicosis?
I believe it is.
So I mean, here we go, and then this huge campaign came out. There is one sliver of truth, that the tooth enamel will harden with fluoride applied. But there was never any discussion that we should be ingesting it into our whole bodies. And it was...
In fact, the opposite is probably true, right?
I mean, the truth is, if we were going to use fluoride as a topical cavity preventer in a safe way, it might be by applying it topically, really being careful to let it absorb in the teeth, and it should be a pharmaceutical grade fluoride, naturally occurring fluoride product. But that is not what we're getting, folks.
Yeah,
That is not what is
shaft for sure.
That is not what is in your toothpaste. What is in your toothpaste is a toxic waste product from the industrial phosphate
and
industry.
This is another straw on the camel's back of inflammation in our body. Low-grade inflammation is a real problem. The Roundup we
Correct.
talked about, watching TV, probably a little bit.
Inappropriate, compounds, mineral compounds. See, that's why when we engineered the Primal Edge, we consulted with experts, biochemists, who understand that the pharmaceutical industry is researching heavily how these natural compounds can protect us from the improper compounds that we're exposed to. They can take a compound such as the ones we've just discussed, and the fulvicumics found in the Primal Edge will take and I'm going to use the word alchemically, meaning perform chemistry to take something that is bad and chelate what is bad, remove it from the body, help the cell membranes bring in what we need.
Kind of like charcoal does. It surrounds the toxin, binds it, and sends it out through the system.
Yeah, the charcoal is a great, and the Mediclay that I use, they're great at doing that, but they don't really do the re-chemicalizing.
No,
so they're a great part of it.
Yeah.
If you start to get food poisoning, one of the first things you want to have on hand is charcoal and Mediclay.
Yeah.
But what you want to do to really stay healthy is to get those cell membranes, properly charged and recognizing and working on getting the minerals to absorb. But getting back to this subject,
the TV is a thing that could be used in a real positive light for education and things like that. And unfortunately, it's just entertainment, and entertainment is really
distraction.
Meaningless. It's just a big distraction.
Most TV is a distraction and an ability for us to be misled into
Big time.
watching and becoming mesmerized by these shows and so forth that are really designed to sell
things. The
things.
news is the worst. I mean, right now we're in the campaign mode. We have been for a year. We're going to be for another year. The caucuses and all that, great. Whoever won, that, it's just these people are never going to solve our problems because they're part of the system. Even Donald Trump is part of the system in a sense because he's in it.
Yeah, and really, I was watching him last night, and I was kind of questioning, is he for real? He's such a different approach than the other candidates, or could this be the most brilliant manipulation of the sorcerer?
Well, he's brilliant at it. There's no doubt about it, and he treats it kind of like Hollywood, which is what cracks me up. Because when I listen to No Agenda and Don C. Dvorak and Adam Curry, they're always dissecting the news according to how Hollywood would do it, and this is the way I see Trump doing this. He's doing, no matter if it's positive, negative, he's using it all. He berates people. He don't attack him. He'll attack you. It doesn't matter if it's true, but the people like it because he's standing up for himself, and that's certainly something to be admired in a sense. But it's still part of the same system, and it's just sad. We're wasting a lot of money. We're wasting a lot of time. What we should be doing is being more concerned about our health as a nation, but also as a people. I think we have to really get back to finding out who we really are as human beings. And human beings, what they do is share things. We help people.
And we're tribal by nature.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here, is try and encourage us to get back to living more as our ancestors did. I know we're going to have a break here in about a minute, but just to introduce the next subject matter, I think it might be a good idea. We were talking about what we're seeing, some of these toxins in meat, in this perhaps beyond factory farmed meat. We were talking about petri dish meat, these multiplication of cells. But there are surprising anti-aging nutrients in red meat.
Yeah, so let's flip it over a little bit.
Let's flip it to the other side, and let's remember it's very natural when we start to hear how they're manipulating our information, they're manipulating our food. How do we go back? The way we do it is we go back and we take a look at what's wrong with our modern food, and then we go back to the food in the way that we should eat it. And the way we need to eat it are when we have foods or plants, they need to be grown during their season in their natural environment. And we're going to tell you some cool tips about what's in healthy red meat that can help you live longer and stronger.
If you go to the TFNN.com webpage, you'll see Living a Private Lifestyle and the breaking news there. There's some stretches there. There's a new one coming out today, so going along with my Health Signals newsletter. So pick that up and pick up some Primal Edge, and Paige and I'll be right back for the next segment. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico and Paige here. And, we talked about the Petri dish meat and how bad that would probably be. But let's look at red meat and see if there's any benefits to that.
Well, sure. There's surprising anti-aging nutrients in red meat that's raised in a humane way with animals that are eating their natural diet. And what this particular article talked about is it tied into the mitochondrial damage and mitochondrial health. And the good news is scientific research has revealed numerous dietary and lifestyle factors that can prevent and sometimes reverse the effects of illnesses such as Alzheimer's and memory decline.
Most brain diseases. Yeah.
Researchers have identified specific nutrients that slow the effects of dementia and chronic conditions. And one of these nutrients is L-carnitine, found pretty much primarily in red meat, in healthy red meat.
Yep.
And it was interesting because there were researchers that were at an internal medicine university in Italy. They conducted a double-blind study. And what they found of this 3-month study, and it was published in the International Journal of Pharmacology,
Research,
they found that patients that were treated with acetyl L-carnitine showed statistically significant improvements in behavior, memory, attention, verbal fluency, and the ability to choose the right words, which sometimes we don't have when we get up at 5 a.m. But they theorized that the positive results could be related to the fact that acetyl L-carnitine actually converts. It's the precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. And this is really important in this particular neurotransmitter is implicated in Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that working with some functional laboratories that do testing to see what nutrients many people are missing, guess what one of the primary nutrients that they find?
L-carnitine?
Well, it's actually choline, acetylcholine.
Okay.
So what does that tell you? We're not getting the nutrient. And where is that nutrient found? Primarily in red meat. So, we have to then question those people that are espousing that we should shun it. Maybe we're missing an opportunity to get a very healthy nutrient.
Yeah, because this shows clearly that the help is there, even if you're going downhill. This
can help recover.
This can help recovery.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. It's aging and how our cells eventually power down,
Right.
We just talked about the fact that the powerhouse of most of our cells are the mitochondria. And that is really what the theory of aging is. It's mitochondrial aging. And it asserts that free radical damages the cell's energy powerhouse, and that over time the cell simply powers down and dies.
And because of non-nutrition.
Yeah, well, and because of the mitochondria, which is required it is the energy powerhouse of every cell in our body. If it can no longer function with energy,
right.
What's going to happen if we, no longer have power to our house? We're not going to be able to do work, right?
Yeah, I just wonder what our real age is. Here we're pretty healthy in this modern age. We're definitely living a lot longer, supposedly, than many people, although I do hear stories of the American Indians a couple of thousand years ago living into 120, 130 years old, pretty healthy.
I still question that. We talk about what we hear from the mainstream media, that perhaps at times the information that we're hearing is actually skewed for the benefit of corporate interests. Yeah. So, we always hear, people always come back to me and say, oh, but modern medicine is helping us live longer.
Well, it is in a sense, too.
Well, it's helping us live longer, but are we actually living healthier?
Well,
the average person over 70 is on 10 drugs.
Right.
I mean,
right.
You're not, I don't plan to be.
Right.
And I find that many of my clients that work with someone that helps them understand how their body can heal and gets off of these drugs with the help of their physicians are oftentimes much healthier and have more energy.
Well, it's amazing with all the stuff that's thrown at us that we are still healthy.
Yeah.
That you and I are doing pretty well. And, hopefully that'll continue.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I think, we have to battle against this because there is a lot of things that can decline our health. In this. And the food is certainly one of the things. The red meat, I don't eat a lot of red meat, but probably once every couple of weeks I do eat red meat.
Right.
I do like pork, and I do like chicken and duck and, all kinds of sausages and things like that, because that's part of being a Dutch guy.
Right.
We like our sausages and sauerkraut, and we like our pickled herring and all these kinds of things. So it's important to look at, your own DNA, your own heritage, and what you probably ate for hundreds and hundreds of years as far as your ancestors are concerned. But it's so important to clean up your act. That's just basically the best way to do it. And there's many ways of doing it. I talk with my jiu-jitsu buddies a lot of times about that. And last Saturday, we were all there, and one of the older guys came in, one of the first guys that came to the dojo when Eduardo first came to America, and he's in his 70s, and he says, my main concern is all these cell phones and cell towers and electricity going through the air messing with our DNA. And I said, there's another one, So everybody has their own little concerns of it.
And that's huge, by the way.
It is
and that's
huge.
a lot of what I work with.
Well, sure, we're in front of these monitors all the time. We're using electronic things. We put them up to our ear. This stuff is going through us. There's no doubt about that.
Environmental remediation should be on the forefront of every healthy person's. And you need to remediate your body, your home. And remediate means to help to disarm this damaging EMFs. We're swimming in a pool of EMFs, but we're kind of getting on a different subject.
Yeah.
Let's go back and finish a little bit about why red meat and some of these nutrients that you'd get, would be good for us. Just to kind of highlight a couple of things, is protection of the heart is, really number one.
Well, carotene is concentrated in the tissues that utilizes fatty acids as their primary dietary fuel. We say this very often, and including skeletal and cardiac muscles, the heart muscles. Therefore, it's no surprise that it also reaches the heart of the number one cause of death, cardiovascular disease. So carotene is implicated in heart disease too. There's
a lack of carnitine.
A lack of carotene.
Yeah, sure. So. And another piece of this is the bone density matrix. We find that researchers from Florida State University, right here in our backyard, and the University of Connecticut found that L-carnitine decreases bone turnover and slowed the rate of bone loss in rats. And so it helps promise, for people, postmenopausal women, for example, to maintain bone density. Again, when we're getting the right kinds of foods, can these nutrients help us, achieve a higher grade of health?
Yeah. In the chat room, they're asking, can you explain the benefits of flax seeds?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. The benefit of a flaxseed is that it is an omega-3. However,
the problem is
that, again, we were talking earlier about seeds. If you're going to enjoy the benefits of flaxseed, and I do believe there are many benefits of flaxseed, and you need to buy them fresh. You need to make sure they're fresh. You need to store them in your refrigerator, your freezer, and then grind them in your coffee grinder type grinder just prior to use.
Preferably a steel burr grinder so it doesn't spin it and heat it up.
Or possibly, also soak them.
That'd be a really good way. Let them sprout slightly. Yeah.
Actually, if you really would go through the energy, you would soak them, and then you would let them dry out again, and then you would, because you couldn't really soak them, they turn into a mush.
Yeah.
Or you actually, after they've been soaked, throw them into a smoothie and blend them that way.
Yeah, there's different ways of using them.
But the benefits of them is they are an omega-3 that we're desperately short of.
Better places to get omega-3, I think, but you can
we
use
prefer, we think that perhaps you get it easier through, say, algae, DHA types, but I think flaxseed is important.
Yep. Number here is 877-927-6648. Paige and I will be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV. But if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back to Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, we've been talking about how our environment affects our genes and our gene expression affects our DNA and how we evolve.
Right.
You know, we can take a look at today's human and really the people don't look like they did. You know, I always think of that graphic of the ancestors showing the metabolic person today kind of fat and out
Right.
of shape, saying, go back, we messed up.
Right.
Well, here's an article, leave it to Nico to really help us go down the rabbit hole and think, article in sciencemag.org, bizarre desert-dwelling fish may have evolved just a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah, and
this really points to the fact that, the changes we're doing could have a drastic impact.
Dramatic
we
effect.
may not look the same in 100 years based on it. To me, it doesn't look pretty.
Well, the general consensus is, of course, it takes millions of years for genetics to work, and we change over time, adapting to our environment. And that may be true, but there are instances, and this happens to be one of them, where there's an evolutionary jump, let's say. All of a sudden, a new species appears. Nobody knows why.
We're playing with roulette, though,
In a sense, we
environmentally,
are.
too. I mean, the normal
Definitely
changes.
when we're treating ourselves, there's no doubt about it. Anyway, this fish was thought to be
Pretty
in the
fish.
desert. Yeah, it was in actually one of my favorite places in the Nevada desert in the Devil's
Valley?
Hole, in Death Valley. And they always thought this fish that comes alive when it rains has been there for 10 to 20,000 years. But the new evidence shows that it may be far younger than they presume. A new study suggests that the Devil's Hole pupfish actually colonized its watery caverns between somewhere 105 to 830 years ago. And many scientists rethink of how it got there in the first place. There was a genetic change in this fish, and they think it happened rather quickly because of the environment. Once it used to be a sea.
Used to be a sea there,
Yeah,
right.
used to be a sea
And
there.
now it's a desert.
Now it's a desert.
And
this fish has adapted to change. When there's no water there, it just goes dormant, and then when the water comes, pop, it's alive, and it spawns.
That's just sort of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Explain what you mean. It goes dormant. It just sort of, does it breathe? Does it lay there? Or
No,
what is
it
it?
actually just goes dormant, like in a coma almost. Very, very shallow breaths, perhaps. Maybe
Right.
you can't even detect it. But it's kind of like it goes into a seed type of pod.
Almost like a coma type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then it pops up. And there's many instances of this in deserts where the rain comes, the flowers all of a sudden appear.
Right.
So it does happen. But I think also we really don't know, when Homo sapiens first appeared on the planet. It's somewhere between, we think, 20,000 to 100, maybe 200,000 years ago. But, we weren't there before. Before us was Homo erectus and maybe 7 or 8 other species. But all of a sudden we appeared. And how did that happen? It's kind of like the illusion of maybe there is somebody. It's like when Ben Davidson was saying, it's funny, the sun goes around, it spins in 30-day increments. And there's all kinds of flashes going on that would be detrimental to Earth. But they're not hitting Earth. They're all away from Earth. As soon as the sun turns toward Earth, it kind of turns off. Mm-hmm. And why does that happen? It's almost like there's a sentient being out there, kind of proof of that maybe there is a God watching over the planet Earth.
Well,
but who knows what really happens? We don't know. We can have faith.
I certainly believe so.
Well, it's a nice, warm thought, no doubt about it.
But, this is just a kind of proof in the pudding that, perhaps nature knows best. It appears that nature has made some adjustments in the Devil's Hole pupfish.
Well, this is, for me, it's a wake-up call saying, we can change drastically and we can change fast. And maybe in a couple of generations, we may be completely different species. I want it to be a species that's much hardier, eager to live, to discover and reproduces.
And let's go back to Pottinger's work. I think let's put that in the newsletter in the next time.
Oh, yeah, these are things that are all going in.
Dr. Pottinger studied Pottinger's cats, and he showed that when they processed food within 5 generations, they're hardly recognizable. It was sort of a similarity to what we're experiencing. Hey, we got to go. That was quick.
Yeah,
we'll
thanks a lot
see
for
you
sticking
guys
around.
on Thursday. Have a great week, and be safe.
Yeah, and be healthy.
Be healthy.
Take it here.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns as well as market trend calls. sequence. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.